This is what I think about. And first thing. You want that?
You just want to say everything.
Yeah.
Let's see if you're
This week.
really sad. I can go. With the pen, you know, very long. I don't know. No, I don't need to. You know, I'm very comfortable with something. Yeah. 30 less than I'm going to look away. I'm not sure. Good, but it may be fun. Okay. We're not going to be together. It's not really going to be. You don't think those two other videos. I think it's good. But right now, this is the city of Highlands from here. It's. I'm going to say this inside.
Right, it's like, oh, I think it's here.
It sounds good. Well, it's here. When I said that, that's what I think I'm saying, I didn't push it wrong. But the longer. No. Right, right, yes. Yeah. No.
It's like bread.
It's saying that, right? These are
I think it's really fast. What should I ask you? That's very easy.
Hey, do y'all want this from Delta side? Do y'all want this from Delta side, they want to walk all the way over here?
That was wrong.
Yeah. But it's okay, but, you know. She got it.
I was. Maybe break it. Right. This is not.
Where are the cops? Oh, this is gonna fall. I don't know, what's this, police? I mean, thought the guys said, they did, there's some guy named Granville, yeah, yeah, we should, oh, that's.
You're.
We're sorry now.
I didn't see.
They're. I hope it's good, if you were suggesting, we're fighting.
You want to after this? Oh, what do you say? Wow. Right.
Yeah, that's a big devastation.
Oh, you know, yeah, else. I mean, there are.
Yeah, that's that. You actually would have to have a fuller contract. Oh, because in this, so like, because they're not running, it's just, this is where the accidents or that shows the number.
Oh, the very deadly.
They're all. Well, I can probably do that.
Yeah. Oh, it is all one. I think they. Yeah. Just for reference.
So I said, guys, we're going back. Okay. Good morning. I have to get one on you. Yeah, right, absolutely. Judge Coyle, how are you? Good, thank you. Take deep breaths, it's all good. Okay, let me get ourselves sorted here. Okay. Have uniform, will travel. You guys are so special. I had it what? Just for you.
Judge, do you want the mic turned on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mhm.
Do we have everybody on this end? Everybody's good? 1, 2, good, okay. All right, I'm gonna get my things sorted. Okay. Don't mind me, I'm just extra. Brought the wee computer there so that I could. Jesus, look at that. I have two glasses. There's a saying with that when you have two things, right? Okay. Only need one. Okay. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll pretend like we're opening up court. So everyone please stand. This court is now in session. Good morning, everyone. All right. May we have counsel please identify themselves, beginning with the plaintiffs.
Yes, Your Honor, I have Storiano, plaintiff.
Good morning.
Good morning, Gia Kim.
Good morning. And I
didn't catch your team number,
Yes, Your Honor, plaintiff is team 110.
team 110.
Your Honor.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. You may approach. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Allison Clement, and I'm also my co-counsel in Latury. We represent the defendant in today's case, Thomas R. Klein High School, and we are team 105.
Welcome. Morning.
Morning. We also have notice of appearance in today's case.
Oh, okay. All right, sure, please. Wow, this is preparation. I'm not used to this. For every bloody day.
It's very exciting.
Sure. Okay. All right, you may be seated. All our jurors are ready? Yes? Okay. This is not connected to the internet. Good. It'll kick in. All right. You may proceed.
Your Honor.
Okay.
You're all.
Yes, please. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have used the following.
Okay.
Exhibit 1, 5, 7, 8A, 9, and 10. And we intend to use exhibit 1 to be a photo of murderers in our opening.
All right. Is that correct?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. All right, you may proceed.
We will call Dr. Kevin Potter, the expert in the field of family medicine and sports medicine, Your Honor, for a formal tender.
Yes, please.
Additionally, pursuant to Rule 618A3, we'd like to have our expert, Dr. Kevin Potter, in the corporate reporter presence. It's essential for our case.
All right. Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor. We just want to ask the same for our expert, Dr. Lefebvre. No objection, Your Honor.
All right, agreed.
We have two more housekeeping matters.
Okay.
The Federal Rules of Civil Procedure Rule 3284 permits the use of a deposition of an unavailable witness. This
Yes.
court already ruled that an appearance of an unavailable witness, which is may be tried under we intend to be part of Review's file of definition and be counsel of designation.
All right. Agreed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Would Your Honor like those designations down?
Yes, please.
We intend to read lines 19 through 34. And the deposition is exhibit 21.
21. All right, very good.
Finally, exhibit 5 is a copy of the discharge paper for reference from the hospital after his injury. This is one of the pre-admitted exhibits, and we also intend to read portions of the journal application sheet.
Okay. Agreed.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, that's fine.
That concludes our housekeeping.
Wonderful. Do you have any housekeeping matters to add?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe not for you.
Yes.
Maybe you can call this is our police.
Yes.
When asking to approach the witness, would you like us to ask the first time or would you like us to ask?
Just once. That way we can fill our time wisely.
Yes, Your Honor. And before publishing, would you like us to ask to publish or would you like us to freely publish after?
Yes, to publish. That's what I'm familiar with.
The defense is also putting the formal notice that today this case is bifurcated and we're only trying to write the limited phase and not get it.
Understood.
We also would like to inform the court and we have informed the counsel that the defense is not running our affirmative defense of assumption of the risk. And with that, for the verdict form, we would like question number 3 to do with assumption of the risk be constructed with that.
Agree? Yes, Your Honor. Okay.
Your Honor, we also had a successful meeting confirmed with the opposing counsel in which they agreed to one of our motions that they would not get into Klein High School banning and quarterbacks being pushed after the injury occurred, and they're under such a free to win their fight.
Very good.
That concludes all our housekeeping matters, and we are ready to proceed to.
Excellent. May proceed.
Your Honor, during a successful meeting, we also agreed to stipulate to one of the plaintiff's motions today that had to deal with the exclusion of Exhibit 2, which is a liability waiver. And with that, the defense does have one substantive motion with me today, and that motion has to deal with the exclusion of any testimony or reference to Coach Jackie Powell's character. Specifically, the defense anticipates that the plaintiff will attempt to elicit testimony regarding how Coach Jackie Powell had character trait for a lack of concern for player safety. Now, because this testimony can only be used to show that Coach Jackie Powell did not care for his students or did not properly protect his students during practice, this can only be used to show propensity, which is inadmissible character evidence under Rule 404. And is to be excluded.
Anything argument, please?
Your Honor, opposing counsel only made reference to character, not specific acts. We only intend on offering specific acts, not actual evidence, character, so we don't oppose that motion. The note that we do intend on offering specific acts of Coach Powell as he is as the coach. By the way, background, Your Honor, this is a case that a 14-year-old freshman football player who was injured while playing Coach Powell's team with Powell running games, Powell in practices. So obviously, we're not prior specific instances of Powell.
Response, Your Honor.
Yes.
Every prior instance of Coach Powell running in practice or yelling at his students will only go to show that specific character trait of a lack of concern for player safety. Specifically, just like plaintiff's counsel said that they were intending to show, showing the jury that Coach Powell was yelling, showing that Coach Powell was creating an environment that was not safe for his players goes to show a character trait for lack of concern for player safety. And whenever that happened, they're using this to show that the act of inconformity with that trait. That is definitionally character evidence and is innocent.
Your Honor, Your Honor, these are prior specific acts and that have other permissible purposes other than showing character. Your Honor, just to be clear, I anticipate pretty much every single fact in this during their deposition, during their testimony today, to discuss prior instances of Coach Powell. We can't possibly try this case by excluding everything Coach Powell has ever done before it's time. Simply impossible. So I anticipate Your Honor is going to have to actually observe on this ruling, as there's going to be a lot of evidence to but I do want to point out a specific instance that I anticipate to be an issue, just to show the probative value. Your Honor, on August 20th, Klein freshman football ran a play. That play is called the C. This is a play that brings running when he's injured at another practice later in the season. Now, it's essential for the play to show what happened at his previous practice, to show how Coach Powell instructed Marie to run the play, to show exactly what Marie was told to do, to explain to the jury why it was negligent for Coach Powell to instruct him to run the play this way, and how that instruction then caused the injury on.
Response, Your Honor. While plaintiff's counsel said that there are permitted uses under Rule 404B that would allow them to use this type of testimony, plaintiff's counsel has not specifically identified any of those uses or what they're using this testimony for, besides to show that Coach Jackie Powell acted in conformity with that character trait. Since plaintiff's counsel has not identified a specific use besides conformity that they'll be using this testimony for, it's still an invisible character of the Rule 404B.
All right, I'm going to reserve that. It depends on how the testimony flows in terms of the probative value and beyond propensity. All right, I think propensity is not appropriate. All right, anything else?
No, Your Honor, with that, the defense is ready to proceed to open statements.
All right,
That's the plan.
okay. Carry on, may proceed.
For the defendant, winning comes first. Safety comes second. It's a Monday morning, September 9th, 2024. Out on the Drexel football field stands the Klein freshman football. The air is crisp. Early fall breeze gently brushes in. The moment of silence takes heavy before a 14-year-old moves all. This is Marie. This is what he looked like that morning out on the football. But today, he's paralyzed from the neck down. He has no use of his arm, no use of his leg. He will never walk. So what happened that morning? Their head coach, Jackie Powell, had just called for a play that he designed himself. He called it Murray's Knee. Now, members of the jury, some of you may be familiar with football, some of you may not be. But football can be a complicated game. But what matters for its trial, simple. Football is often a game of inching, and moving the ball down just 1 yard means the difference between winning and losing. And Jackie Powell thought Marie's Knee was just the play the team needed to keep the moment. Marie's Knee is similar to quarterback sneak push, also known as the tush push, where the offensive players push the quarterback forward with just 1 or 2 yards left, continue their offense, or score a touchdown. Except Jackie Powell told Marie, we're going to change one thing. Get lower. Coach Powell wanted the offensive players to push Marie's 109-pound body forward like a battering ram so the team can get that one. That morning, September 9th, in practice, when Jackie Powell calls to Marie's knee, Marie does exactly what Coach Powell told him to do. Ball snap. Defensive players push Marie forward, Marie's chin up into his chest, torso parallel to the ground. His helmet pressed against center back. Push as he's pushed forward. 2 linemen grab Marie. Another defensive player jumps on top of Marie's exposed for back. But Marie can't see. He feels hits to his back, hits to his neck. And so, like an explosion, the jolts down his spine. Everything went exactly as Coach Powell wanted it to go. As a result, Marie became paralyzed from the neck. Good morning, members of the jury. My name is Gia Kim, and I, along with my co-counsel Patrick Sariano, represent the plaintiff in this case, Sydney Weaver, Marie's mother. Today we have the burden of proof. We have to prove to you that it was more likely than not that the defendant's negligence, their carelessness, caused Marie's injury. We are going to meet that burden with freedom. First, high school football coaches should know that the quarterback's knee push potentially. Second, Jackie Powell modified the quarterback's knee push in a manner that made it even more. And third, client coaches ignored the warning signs that Marie could get hurt. That's my first point. High school football coaches should know quarterback knee push potentially. Today, we're going to call Al Blooming. He was the offensive coordinator for the Klein freshman football team at the time of Marie's injury. And he will tell you that he thought the quarterback's knee push was dangerous for high school athletes and voiced his concerns to Jackie Powell. We'll also call expert in this case, Dr. Kennedy Carter. She's an expert in the field of family medicine and sports medicine. And she will tell you today that because of their inexperience and weaker bones, high school football players are more susceptible to spinal injuries that could result from plays like the quarterback. And indeed, you will hear today that 48 states have banned the quarterback's knee push. High school football leagues from 48 states banned the quarterback's knee push. The time of Marie. On to my second point, that Jackie Powell modified the quarterback's knee push in a manner that made it even more unsafe. Jackie Powell became the head coach of the Klein freshman football team in 2020. And he will tell you, for the first 2 seasons as the head coach, the team had 1 win and 9 losses for each of those 2. Keep that in mind when you hear about why Jackie Powell modified the quarterback situation, why he wanted Murray to go lower and lower, and how all of that relates to whether Murray got injured. We expect them to call a doctor or make that happen. And you will hear from their witness admitting that the quarterback sneak push modified by Jackie Powell, she wouldn't even recommend running that play like that. So keep that in mind when she tells you about the safety of the quarterback sneak push, because that is not the same play that Jackie Powell made for you from. Now, my third point, line coaches ignored the warning signs that Marie could get hurt. Marie was 5'2" and 109 pounds at the time of the review. Coach Powell will tell you the average lineman on the Klein freshman football team at the time of Marie's injury, there were 5'6" and 200 pounds. And Dr. Heyer will tell you that Marie was not only smaller than an average high school quarterback, he was smaller than an average high school. Keep that in mind when you listen to the body that was high on Marie after running the play of Jackie Powell. What you will not hear today is any research that was done on the safety of the quarterback sneak push. And Dr. Carter will tell you that Jackie Powell's modification to the quarterback sneak push exposed his back and neck to more hits than he would have been subjected to in a unmodified version of that sneak push. And you will learn that that exposure is exactly how Marie got it. Members of the jury, you are. At the end of today's trial, we will ask you to find the defendant liable for Marie's paralysis in the neck. Because for the defendant, winning safety in the second.
Thank you very much. You may proceed.
Why do bad things happen to good people? Sometimes an accident is just that. Accidental, unexpected, unpredictable. And you cannot prevent what you cannot predict. Klein is home to Jackie Powell. He has taught and coached football there for almost 10 years. He has spent the past decade pouring into students and wants to spend the next decade doing the same. But ever since Jackie Powell became the head coach of Klein's freshman football team, the team hasn't been doing well. The past 2 seasons, they've gone 1-9, and honestly, Coach Powell knows that to keep doing what he loves in the place he loves, something is going to have to change. And that change is going to have to be all. The freshman team has to score more points. So just like any other high school and top corner football coach, Jackie Powell and his offensive coordinator are locked into college and NFL. So when they need to make a change to their team's playbook, they look to the pros. You see, the past few seasons, college and NFL teams have been incorporating the quarterback sneak push, the play used by the offense when they only need to gain yards. And as I just told you, when the QB sneak push is run, the ball is snapped to the quarterback, and then 2 or 3 players push it. NFL teams have had a lot of success running this play, especially Philadelphia Eagles. And as Eagles fans themselves, Coach Powell and Coach Clooney recognize just how much potential this play actually has. They at least have to try it. And with Marie Newbern's entering into his freshman year and joining the team, Klein might actually have the players they need to make the QB sneak push work. Marie has raw talent. He has grit. He has a rocket arm. He has all the makings of a star quarterback. Small. 5'2", barely 109 pounds. Now, obviously, Klein's freshman football team are not grown men like NFL athletes. So in order to make the QB sneak push safe and effective, with a quarterback as small as Marie, Coach Powell is going to have to make a few adjustments. NFL quarterbacks are strong. They're nearly double Marie's weight and can withstand hits from the defensive line that Coach Powell just knows Marie. So in order to avoid Marie taking those dangerous hits, Coach Powell comes up with an idea he thinks might actually. Marie needs to get low. Really low. So low that he shoots through the defensive line like a spear before they even get a chance to tackle. Coach Powell runs this play with these changes at practice on March. It works. It works the first time. The second time they run it, the third time they run it. But when Klein runs the QB sneak push in its first game of the season, Reed doesn't get low enough. And he fails to break through the defensive line like he had each time practice. Coach Powell's disappointed. In his mind, this play only works if it's ran the way he designed it for this. For this quarterback, for Marie. So when the team suits up for practice again on September 9th, Coach Powell has one. And this time, Marie does get loaded. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. But unfortunately, as we heard today, he doesn't get back up. Marie suffered a spinal injury that day. An injury devastated the Klein community and me. What happened on September 9th is a tragedy. No one here is denying that today. Everyone knows that football is dangerous. But no one expects to sustain a life-altering injury. Especially not one. Nothing like this has happened before, and nothing like this has happened since. Because while the QB sneak push may be a relatively new play, it gained popularity fast. Teams across the country have been using it from high school to college to the NFL. No one has ever been injured running this play at the high school or college level. And despite the NFL running this play hundreds of times, there have only ever been 2 injuries. Both of them are minor, and neither of them happened to a quarterback. Everyone expects minor injuries. Every time a player steps onto the field, they may walk away with a few falls. Maybe a sprained knee or ankle, maybe even a concussion. But there are some injuries that are so unexpected, so unpredictable. Nope. No player, no parent, no coach can prepare. And you cannot prevent what you cannot predict. And the law doesn't require it to. The law does not require that Klein's coaches prevent an unforeseeable tragedy, but rather that they act reasonably under the circumstances. You will hear today that Klein's coaches did act reasonably under the circumstances. They're high school football coaches who saw an opportunity to make their team successful. Yes, they recognize this play carried risk, but so does every other football. And you will hear today that based off of the limited research that was available to Klein, when they decided to run the QB sneak push, this play was no riskier than any other play. Klein's coaches did what coaches are supposed to do. Teach, prepare, give their athletes a chance to succeed. Klein was looking forward to watching Marie succeed. Just because he got injured at a practice is not erasing the fact that sometimes accidents just happen. Look, it's natural to want to find someone to blame when an accident as tragic as this one happens. There's no one to blame here. Klein's coaches could not prevent, but they could not predict. Which is why at the end of this trial, my co-counsel, Melina Lettieri, will stand before you and ask that you find Thomas R. Klein High School not liable.
Thank you.
Okay.
Would you take a moment to step up for ready?
Ready to call our next witness, Your Honor, which will be Al Cooney. However, Adam Cooney takes the stand. I just want to make Your Honor aware that I intend to use non-video exhibit on my laptop during this examination. My intention is to show to the witness, have him tell us what it is, and ask Your Honor's question and publish. That's all right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm gonna ask folks if you would please, because of the high ceilings, I noticed that it's a little bit difficult to hear. So just everyone, please raise your voices. That would be great, all right?
And I used to make a Scott first like you, Your Honor.
To hear you. All right, thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Coach Clooney. Can you please introduce yourself?
Of course. Good morning. I'm Al Cooney.
Where do you currently?
I work at Jules Epstein High School up the road.
What do you do?
I'm the head coach for the junior varsity football team, and I also teach physics.
Where did you work before you worked at Epstein?
I worked at Thomas R. Klein High School.
What did you do at Klein?
I was the offensive coordinator for their freshman football team.
For those of us who aren't that familiar with football, can you just tell us very basically what's the object?
Of course. So basically the point of football is to get the football in the other team's end zone.
And how can the team playing defense get the football beyond?
So in that case, sometimes the offense will punt the ball or kick it to the other side of the field and give it to the defense.
Why would the offense kick the ball to the defense?
So basically in football, when you're on the offense, you have 4 plays or 4 chances to go 10 yards or to score. A lot of teams will be think that it's easier to just punt it on the 4th down to make sure that the ball is as far away from the ball.
But what if a team is able to get those 10 yards? Then what happens?
Then that's called a first down. That means they get another 4 plays, another 4 chances to go the 10 more yards or to score.
Thank you, Coach Powell. I now want to talk about your time in Klein. While you were there, did you push student name Marie Difference?
I did.
Record reporting council, you did one of the record, which is pretty good, showing that you put them down. And first submission,
Yes,
heading to witness exhibit 1, and Your Honor, since this is pre-admitted, may I publish?
yes.
Who is this person?
This is Marie.
And who was Marie on the Klein freshman football?
Marie was our starting quarterback.
Can you just tell us a little bit about what Marie was like as a player?
I mean, he was a great kid. Really smart, no student of the game, really easily coachable. You only had to tell him things once.
Thank you. You can put aside exhibit 1 if I'm now not showing it to Jerry. Also like to read stipulation 2 under the record of this time. It's on page 2 of the pre-trial. Marie Guberins was 5 feet 2 inches tall and 109 pounds, September 9th, 2001. Coach Maloney, I now want to talk about your time coaching at Klein. Now, while you were there, you coached in Jack.
I did.
What was Jack Powell's position in 2020?
He was the head coach of our freshman football team.
What is the position now?
He's still the head coach of that football.
I want to go back to the fall 2022 season. Can you tell us what Klein's record was that year?
We went 1-9,
What about the year after that?
1-9 again.
Were those good seasons for Klein?
No, at that point, we were losing them by more than 2 touchdowns each game. A little embarrassed.
How at all did the coaching staff react to those results?
I mean, we were nervous. I mean, we knew that a bad season at any year could mean our jobs. And so going into that third year, we were a little scared.
I want to now talk about the year after that, fall 2024. Who on Klein's freshman team was responsible for deciding which plays the team?
So each head coach of each team is responsible for calling the plays. So for our team, it was Coach Powell.
Did there come a time before the fall 2024 season where you discussed the play with Coach Powell?
There was a time last July where we were at Wicked Wolf down the road and we were talking about what plays we were going to run.
What plays did you discuss?
We talked about a quarterback sneak push, kind of like the Eagles.
Can you just tell us a little bit more what the quarterback sneak push is?
Yeah, of course. So earlier when I was talking about those 4th downs when people kick the ball to the other side of the field, sometimes if you want to get that extra yard, if it's a short distance, you can run a quarterback sneak push. That's giving the ball to the quarterback and then sneaking them through the line just to get those short yards.
Are you familiar with this play before July 1st, 2024?
I was. The Bird's been running it since 2021 and I've seen every game.
What is it called when the bird runs?
They call it the tush push or the brotherly shove. It changes.
Direct Report Council to Exhibit 9, which is that video exhibit I mentioned. Approaching the witness with Exhibit 9 on a laptop. What is Exhibit 9?
This is the Birds versus the Chiefs last year.
How many times have you seen the Eagles play in the last 10 years?
Every single time.
And to your knowledge, is this an accurate depiction of how the Eagles run the QB sneak?
It is.
You're on permission to publish the Thanks. I'm publishing my claim to clip and it's in fact. Now closing the laptop. Coach Clooney, I want to now jump back to the Wicked Wolf. Coach Powell tell you why you wanted to run this play with the plan.
Yeah, he did. He said that this play is an easy first down for the Eagles and that it was easy for us. He said anyone who wasn't running this play was stupid.
Did you want to run this play with the flying freshman?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
I mean, those are the pros. They're much bigger than the kids that we're working with. So I knew that it would be dangerous to the freshmen.
And just to be clear, whose decision was it to eventually run this play?
It was Coach Powell's.
Did you run the same version of the play that the NFL runs?
No, we didn't.
How was it?
Coach Powell made an adjustment to have Marie get substantially lower to the ground and before he ran.
I want to now jump ahead to the first time you practiced this play. When was that?
August 20th, 2024.
How did Coach Powell agree to run this play on August?
He told Marik to get parallel to the ground and have the space facing downward and to act kind of like a human battering.
And when you saw that day, agreed to it, what Coach Powell said.
Not on that day.
Why not?
I mean, he wasn't getting low enough to the ground.
And did Coach Powell have reaction to that?
He did. He started yelling at him to get lower, even walked on the field, grabbed him by the face mask and pulled him down until he was at a distance he laughed.
What, if anything, did Coach Powell say?
He went up to Marik and said, "Don't make me tell you again."
Want to now move on your first game of the season. When was that?
September 5th, 2024, against Robert Bloom.
Did Coach Powell call the play that game?
We did.
How many times?
Just once.
What happened to Marie that one time?
Didn't work the way he planned. He wasn't low enough, got stuffed, got pushed back to guard.
And did Coach Powell have a reaction? That one.
Yeah, he kept getting mad at Marik, yelling at him, saying, "I bet that AJ, our backup quarterback, would want to be in the game."
Your knowledge, of anyone injured during the run?
I thought so. After one of the plays, Marik was grimacing and holding his back, and so I asked if he was okay.
What did Marie say?
He said that he would be fine by the next run.
Did you ever check up on Marie after that point?
No, I didn't.
Do you know if any other client coaches checked on Marie?
No.
Now I want to move up the next time you ran that play. When was that?
It was September 9th, 2024.
Was that during a game or practice?
It was during one of our practices.
How did Marie run the play on time?
On that day, Marie was parallel to the ground, kind of like we told.
And how did the defense respond?
When we ran the play, they pushed Marie through the line and he got the guard, but he was on the ground.
What were the defensive linemen doing during this play?
They were pushing through and they ended up on top of Marie.
What did the defensive safety do?
Also pushed up on top of Marie.
At the end of the play, can you tell us where all those players were?
About 5 or 6 of them were directly on top of his back in the middle of the field.
Did you see him, Marie?
Not at first. Everyone was kind of crowding around him, but as they were getting up, we could see him on the ground.
What did you see?
Wasn't moving.
What?
Me and the rest of the staff ran onto the field to go check on him, and I called 911 as soon as I could.
Do you know what Marie's eventual diagnosis was?
Yes, sir.
What was it?
Marie was paralyzed from the neck down.
What question?
You may inquire. Coach Quinny, you have never played a single down of tackle football in your life.
No, I'm too small.
You were a water boy,
I was.
and then you coached flag football.
That's correct.
All of your experience with football comes from coaching
Yes, that's true.
or watching football.
Of course.
Because you watch football, you know that football can be dangerous.
It can be. It's our job as coaches to make sure it's safe.
It is a contact sport after all,
It is.
which is why players wear safety gear.
That's correct.
They wear knee pads,
Yes,
hip pads,
correct.
shoulder pads.
Among the rest, yes.
They even wear a helmet.
That's right.
And even with all of that safety gear, players still get hurt.
It's possible. Yes.
They can get hurt at every level,
Yeah,
in every game,
that's right.
on every type of play.
That's correct.
In fact, 2 players have been injured running the QB sneak push.
That's right. There are 2 pros that had injuries to their shoulders and their knees.
Both of those injuries are minor,
Correct.
and neither of those injuries happened to the quarterback.
No,
In fact, both of those injuries occurred during the exact same game,
that's right.
on the exact same run of play.
Yes,
There have been no other reported injuries from the NFL of the on the quarterback sneak push.
not that I'm aware of. No.
You are aware of the NFHS.
Yes, that's the National Federation for High School Football.
It's a national organization that states can adopt.
That's true. Rest of the states, 48 of them adopted. Pennsylvania has a separate association.
And the NFHS, it's a whole rule book,
That's right.
not just a ban on the QB sneak push.
No,
But Pennsylvania, as you just mentioned, has not adopted this thing.
that's right. They was actually allowed in 2024, but going into this season for 2025, it wasn't allowed.
But the QB sneak push, when you ran it, was during the 24-25 season.
That's right. The 2024 season was the last year it was allowed to run.
And part of the reason the NFHS banned the QB sneak push was for competitive balance.
That's what they said.
It was to level the playing.
That's what they said.
You and Coach Powell ran the QB sneak push at practice.
Yeah, Coach Powell called the QB sneak.
And as you mentioned on direct, it was on August 20th.
That's right.
You ran it 3 times.
Yes,
Every single time, everyone got back up.
that's right.
No one was injured running the play on August 20th.
But not that I'm aware of. No.
Klein then ran the QB sneak push in a game.
Yeah, a game against Little High School.
No one was injured during that game.
No, but Marie was holding his back and grimacing a little bit afterwards.
And as you mentioned on direct, Marik told you he was fine.
Yeah, he said he would be fine by the next drive. That's right.
And then he continued to play in the game for the rest of the time.
Yes, sir.
No one other than this instance has ever had an injury to a quarterback running the QB sneak push.
Not that I know. Of. No,
Not in high school,
no,
not in college,
no.
not in the NFL.
Not besides those 2.
Other than the instance we are here about today, there has never been an injury to a quarterback running this play.
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you. No further questions, Ron.
Yes, Your Honor. Coach Clooney, opposing counsel was asked to determine this injury to a player according to QB pushed outside of those two NFL quarterbacks. Do you know any high school player that's ever run this play?
I don't think any other high school teams run a play like the Marie sneak of the tush push.
Opposing counsel also asked you about the NFHS rule change that was coming into effect, and she asked you if it was changed for competitive balance. Was that the only reason they said they changed?
No, they also said that it was changed for safety.
Did you discuss that rule change, which Cal before the fall 2024 season?
I did. When we were at Wicked Wolf, I told Coach Powell that I thought it was unsafe and that I was going to ban.
No more questions.
Any additional thoughts?
Recross not permitted in district 6, Your Honor.
Sorry.
Your Honor, I just want to clear that's incorrect recross that.
Oh, okay,
No recross.
okay. All right, thank you. The answer. Next witness, please.
Yes, Your Honor, before we call our next witness for a group trial discussion, we would like to begin the portion of the remembrance deposition.
Yes, okay, go ahead.
I will be reading the question and my co-counsel will be reading the answer.
Okay, again, keep your voices up, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Tell the jury everything Coach Powell told you to do on August 20th when you practiced the quarterback sneak push.
Coach Powell showed me a picture of Jalen Hurts and said I should be much lower, knees bent, my face and torso parallel to the ground.
How did you feel after you ran the play at practice on August 20th?
I was all to I was getting drilled on my back. It hurt. I didn't say anything to Coach Powell. Coach Powell always says every week is group week. The best players play your weeks.
What happened when you ran the quarterback sneak push against Robert Little?
You lost a yard the only time you ran. I ended up on the bottom of the pile of 6 players.
What did Coach Powell say to you after the quarterback sneak push against Robert Little?
Coach Powell screamed at me and said I wasn't doing what Coach Powell told me to do. Coach Powell threatened to replace me.
What happened when you practiced the quarterback sneak push on September 9th?
I ran the play just like Coach Powell told me. Felt multiple players hit me on my neck and back. I felt a jolt down my spine like an explosion. I couldn't move my arms or legs. Our trainer and coaches rushed the field. The ambulance took me to the hospital. With 3.
All right.
Your Honor, for my apologies.
No, you may proceed.
We would also like to read that portion of the 5 weeks.
Oh, fine. All right, go ahead.
Reading from the discharge summary for patient recuperance, starting at the hospital report section, first paragraph. CAT and MRI scans revealed a common unit fracture at C4 with associated spinal cord compression. Jumping down to the second paragraph of that section, the injury is complete parenthetical, i.e. irreversibly damaged and parenthetical at a high cervical level. Prognosis for neurologic recovery, including recovery of sensation/motor function, thus extremely. That concludes the exhibit, Your Honor. Prepared call.
All right, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. The plaintiff calls Dr. Kensington Cotter.
Got it, please. Good morning. Morning. You may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Dr. Cotter. Please introduce yourself to the jury.
Good morning, my name is Dr. Kensington Cotter.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an attending physician in sports medicine at Cedars-Sinai. I'm also a consulting physician for UCLA Athletics.
What does it mean to be a consulting physician for UCLA Athletics?
I consult on a variety of different medical issues for UCLA Athletics, including for their football program.
Do you have any teaching experience?
Yes, I'm a clinical professor at UCLA Medical School.
Tell us about your educational background.
Sure. I got my bachelor's in biology from UCLA, where I graduated cum laude. I then went on to attend medical school, also at UCLA. I did my residency in family medicine and a fellowship in sports medicine, all at UCLA.
Do you have any certifications?
Yes, I'm board certified in family medicine, and I also have a certificate in sports medicine.
Do you have any professional affiliation?
Yes, I am a member of the American Medical Society for Sports Medicine, the American College of Sports Medicine, and the American Academy of Family Physicians.
Have you published any research before?
I have, April 2024, I published an article about the safety of the quarterback sneak push in the American Journal of Sports Medicine.
Have you done any expert work before?
I have. I was once retained by a defense lawyer for a muscle injury case, but I was never asked to write a report or testify in that case.
How did you become involved in this case today?
I was retained to evaluate the safety of the quarterback sneak push, specifically the way it was run with Marie Cumberland.
Are you being compensated for your work today?
I am being compensated, yes.
How much?
$1,000 an hour for trial and deposition testimony and $500 an hour for everything else.
How many hours have you spent on this case so far?
A little over 20 hours.
What materials have you reviewed for this case?
I rely on exhibits 1 through 21, as well as the party stipulation.
After reviewing the materials, were you able to reach an opinion with a reasonable degree of medical certainty?
I was.
When formulating those opinions, did you use the methods and principles generally used in the field?
I did.
Did you apply those principles and methods reliably to the facts of this case?
I did reliably apply them, yes.
Did you come to a conclusion in this case?
I did.
Your Honor, pursuant to Federal Rules of Evidence Section 2, I would like to tender this witness as an expert in family medicine and sports medicine. Judge.
No, there's your honor.
See, so tendered and approved. That is submitted.
Dr. Carter, what conclusion did you reach for this case?
That Jackie Powell's modification of the quarterback sneak push is what caused Marie Cumberland's injuries.
What led to that conclusion?
3 different factors. First, the quarterback sneak push is unsafe. Second, the quarterback sneak push is unsafe for high school players. And third, the way that Thomas Line High School ran the quarterback sneak push just made it generally more unsafe.
Dr. Carter, I want to talk about those in turn. Let's start with your first reason that the quarterback sneak push is unsafe. How did you reach that opinion?
Because of the axial loading that occurs during this play, it made Marie more susceptible to spinal cord injury.
Dr. Carter, if I gave you a model of the human spine, would that help you explain your testimony to the jury today?
Yes, it would.
We're in report to what has been pre-admitted for demonstrative purposes, Exhibit 7.
Yes.
Dr. Carter, I'm handing you what has been in evidence as Exhibit 7. May Dr. Carter stand up? Yes. Dr. Carter, you mentioned axial loading. What is that?
This is a model of the human spine, and essentially axial loading is just when force is applied and travels up and down the axial spine.
Are there any risks associated with it?
Yes, spinal cord injury.
What do you mean by spinal cord injury?
Like broken bones, which could lead to paralysis.
How does that happen?
Yeah, so there are different regions to the spine, and if there's a complete or total injury at a certain portion of the spine, then you start to lose function below that point.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. You may take your seat and set that aside. Dr. Carter, is axial loading unique to the quarterback sneak push?
No.
Then why was that significant to your opinion?
While it's not unique to the quarterback sneak push, this play does increase the chances of axial loading occurring.
Could you please describe the quarterback's position at the beginning of the quarterback sneak push play?
Sure. So in the way that the NFL runs it, the quarterback starts off crouching with the head slightly tilted down, which in turn would flex the spine a little bit.
What happens during the play?
Well, the quarterback starts off in that slightly flexed position, and then his teammates will push him from behind.
What does that do to the spine?
It compresses it, which is just a really fancy way of saying when there's way too much force that's traveling up and down the spine, and it starts to squeeze the spine really tight.
And what happens at the end of the play?
Well, in most plays in football, it usually ends with pile up, so players piled up on top of each other.
And what does that do with the spine?
It just continues to compress it.
How did all of this impact your conclusion?
Well, axial loading, the force applied during axial loading, and the risk of pileups during this play all increase the possibility of a spinal cord injury occurring.
Dr. Carter, now I want to talk about your second reason about high school players. How did you reach that?
Yeah, so again, there were three different factors that I considered in coming to that conclusion, but the first and primary one is that high school players have weaker bones.
How does that increase the, how does that increase the risk of spinal injury?
Well, because these high school players have weaker bones, they're more susceptible to a spinal cord injury occurring.
And you mentioned three factors. What's the second factor?
High school players are more inexperienced.
How does that increase the risk of spinal injury?
Yeah, so inexperience can mean that players might have poor technique, which increase all the risks that occur during a pileup. Or, for example, if they're pushing a player, they might apply too much force because of that poor technique.
What's the third factor?
That at the high school level, there's more likely to be a size mismatch.
How does that increase the risk of spinal injury?
It makes it more likely for smaller athletes who are in pileups against larger athlete peers.
What was Marie's height and weight at the time of this injury?
5'2" and 109 pounds.
To your knowledge, what was the height and weight of the average lineman on the Klein Parking football team at the time of Marie's injury?
Yeah, it was 6 foot, 180 pounds was the average size of a quarterback. Marie was even smaller than the average size of a freshman football player, which was 5'6", 125 pounds.
Dr. Cotter, do high schools often run the quarterbacks in push play?
No, they don't.
Are there injuries reported on a high school level from running this play?
No, that's just because high schools don't run this play, so there's nothing to report.
To your knowledge, have any high school football leagues banned the quarterback sneak push?
Yes, at the time of Marie's injury, 48 states had already banned running the quarterbacks in push.
Was Pennsylvania one of them?
Not at the time of Marie's injury, but a few months prior in May 2024, Pennsylvania adopted a rule that would have a ban go into effect for fall of 2025.
Dr. Cotter, now I want to move to your third reason regarding the way Klein ran the quarterback sneak push. How did you reach that opinion?
Well, Jackie Powell's modification of the quarterback sneak push increased the risks of axial loading occurring, specifically because of the posture and position that had Marie get in during this play.
Dr. Cotter, if I gave you the model of the spine again and have you step down, would that help you explain your conclusions to the jury today?
It would, yeah.
Your Honor, may Dr. Cotter step down?
Yes.
Dr. Cotter, you mentioned position and posture regarding the modification. Could you please show this jury what the quarterback's spine would look like in a typical NFL play with the quarterback sneak push?
Yeah, so like we just discussed earlier, the NFL quarterback will typically have the head tilted down a little bit, which would flex the spine ever so slightly. It would look something like that.
And could you please use this model to show the jury what modification that Jackie Powell would have done to the spine? To the quarterback?
Yeah, so Jackie Powell's modification of this play involved Marie tucking his chin into his chest. It would have looked a little bit more something like that, which we can see flexes the spine even more.
How does that impact the risk of spinal injury?
Well, when the spine is more flexed, it's more susceptible to spinal cord injury.
Dr. Carter, you mentioned position. Could you please use this model to show the jury what Marie's position would have been if you followed Jack Powell's modification?
Yeah, so Jackie Powell instructed Marie that he was to get his head, neck, and torso parallel to the ground. This would have been the position that Marie was in.
And how does that impact the risk of spinal injury?
Well, in this position, he's more susceptible to defenders coming and hitting him on the neck and the back. But there were also increased risks because Marie was lined up against the center's back, which reduced his line of vision, making him more vulnerable to those attacks from defenders.
Thank you, Dr. Potter. You may take your seat. Dr. Potter, the position and posture you just mentioned, from modification. Was that Marie's position and posture when Klein Brennan football team ran the Marie team on September 9th?
Yes.
What happened at the end of the play on September 9th?
Marie's neck was broken and it left him paralyzed, both in the arms and the leg.
Thank you, Dr. Potter. No further questions, Your Honor.
Right.
1 moment to prepare the body order.
Yes.
May I retrieve exhibit 7?
Yes.
How do you see this? I can. Okay. Dr. Cotter, you spent a lot of time talking about your qualifications on direct, so I'm going to start by talking about your practice. You do treat patients that have spinal cord injuries. Yes. But spinal cord injuries, they are not your specialty. I don't perform surgery on spinal cord injuries. Right, because you're not a neurologist. No. You hold no certifications in neurology. That's true. You are not a neurosurgeon. No. You hold no certifications in neurosurgery. That's correct. And like you just said, you've never done a spinal cord surgery. That's true. I don't perform surgeries in my practice. Yet here you are today testifying about what could have prevented a spinal cord injury. Yes, I have a lot of experience in sports medicine and family medicine. And this spinal cord injury occurred in an athlete. Yes. You do work with athletes. I do work with athletes, yeah. 1 day a week. Yeah. Dr. Cotter, you claim that Klein did not adequately prepare to run the QBC push. Sure. And that's because they didn't conduct enough research. In part, yes. Dr. Cotter, let's talk about the lack of research you based your opinion on. Now, your one opinion is that the QBC push was too dangerous to run. Yes. So, Klein should not have been running the QBC push. Yes, but should not have run it, especially the way that they modified the play with Marie. Well, we'll get there in a moment, Dr. Potter, because your other opinion is that they did not practice the play enough. That's correct. So Klein should have been practicing the play more. They should have been, that's true. Well, Dr. Potter, which one is it? Should they have not run the play at all, or should they have practiced it more? They should not have run the play at all, but if they were going to run the play, then they needed to have practiced it more. However, the modifications made it dangerous. Well, Dr. Cotter, you said the original QB sneak push was dangerous. That's true, it was. So let's talk about the original QB sneak push. Sure. You would agree with me, this is a relatively new play. Yeah, it is. The Eagles were the first team to run it. Yes, they were. They started running it in 2022. I believe so, yes. Just 3 years ago. Yes. Well, let's talk about the lack of data that was available when Klein decided to run the QB push. Your Honor, permission to use the whiteboard as a demonstrative? Great. Dr. Cotter, prior to the 2024-2025 season, the QB push had been run a total of 215 times in the NFL. NFL style, correct. during 2023, there were 2 injuries in the NFL associated with the QB sneak push. Yes, and the Giants ran the play. This was the data that was available at the time that Klein decided to run the QB sneak push. Yeah, but it's important to note that they're running an NFL style, which means that the quarterback is more upright. That was not the case. Well, thank you for that, Dr. Potter, but I didn't ask you about how they ran the play. I asked you that this is the data that was available in the NFL associated with the QB sneak push when Klein decided to run the play. Yeah. This is the only data available at that time. Yeah. Yet your opinion is that Klein should have conducted more research on that. They should have, yeah. Even though there was virtually no data available on that. Medical data, that's true. And Dr. Cotter, the data that was available showed that the play was pretty safe. I wouldn't agree with that assessment. Well, Dr. Cotter, you would agree with me that these 2 injuries did not occur during 2 separate plays. Correct, they occurred during the same play. So out of the 215 times that this play was run, 214 of them ended without injury. Reported injuries, yeah. Well, let's talk about what happened during the 2024 or after the 2024-2025 season. After that season, the play had been run a total of 316 times. Yeah. During the 2024-2025 season, there were no injuries associated with the QB sneak push in the NFL. None that were reported on that. Right. So the only injuries that were ever reported in the NFL associated with that play were the 2 that happened in 2023. Yeah. Out of 316 times that this play was run in the NFL, there were only ever 2 reported injuries associated with it. Reported, yes. And those 2 injuries, they were minor. And they weren't like threatening, but they were still injuries. Well, Dr. Cotter, one of them was a dislocated shoulder. Yes. The other one was a sprained knee. In the MCL, which can be very painful. Well, neither of them resulted in paralysis. That's correct. Neither of them had anything to do with the spine. That's true. Neither of them happened to a quarterback. Correct. But there have been other NFL plays or football plays that have resulted in spinal cord injuries. Yes, and resulted in paralysis. Correct. Right, because football is a contact sport. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Cotter. I have no further question. Your Honor, permission to preserve the whiteboard as defense exhibit A.
Yes.
No,
No, you're on.
All right, thank you. You may step down. Thank you.
You're on. There possibility for a quick dive number.
sure, that's great, questions, please.
I walk through.
Oh, well, this is pretend how else you would get it really bad.
Yeah. So the shape. Even on cloud side, I know what to do. So there's something new.
Yeah, 139 pound, 5'2".
I think they're just trying to, they're just like, it's like, forcefully doing this, yeah. Easy goal. But yeah, probably some of them.
Yeah.
I did, I was thinking that.
Sure.
When ready.
Wait, it's very wrong.
That's right.
Wait for us.
Your Honor, at this time, the defense moves for a motion under Rule 50 of the Federal Rules of Procedure as a judgment as a matter of law. Even in viewing the light most favorable to the non-moving party, here the plaintiff, no reasonable juror could find her contrary to the evidence that Klein was negligent or that the alleged negligence caused her. We heard by testimony today in the plaintiff's case in chief that even our plaintiff's post-witness that this play had no reported injury. There was no reason to believe that a spinal injury like this could occur on a quarterback. And also with the plaintiff's expert, we also heard that even with the reports that there was in the QBC push, there was no reports of injuries to the quarterback, and therefore no reasonable jury could find the kind of negligence in this case, and this motion is to be carried.
Your Honor, doing the evidence in the light most favorable to the non-moving party, in this case, the plaintiff, we have shown a legally sufficient case in order to present this to the jury. Your Honor, first we called out Cody, who explained exactly the way this play came about. Coach Powell was told it's dangerous and decided to run it anyway. We're told that he modified it in a way that common sense tells us is unsafe. exposed Marie back to more potential injury than if he had stayed upright. And Dr. Potter's testimony assured us that was true from that. Now, the defense argument that this is about the NFL is simply not a fair comparison. NFL's players are professionals. This is a case about 14-year-old boys. And saying that it's safe to Rose to run it, therefore it's safe to Marie to run it, because there's been no injuries, then we shouldn't say that it's unsafe. That's like saying safe for a 14-year-old to drive down Market Street because a 14-year-old has never been killed driving a car on Market Street. 14-year-olds have been killed on Market Street while driving because we don't let 14-year-olds drive. These common sense tells us it's unsafe. And it is unsafe for the defense to test out this play on review purposes, so this motion should be denied.
Your Honor, the defense calls Jackie Howard. Now, Coach Powell, we've heard a lot about today, but why don't you go ahead and.
Morning, my name is Jackie Howe.
Coach Powell, what do you do?
Currently, I'm the head coach at Klein High School of the freshman football team.
How long have you been coaching?
I've been coaching it for about 10 years.
Have you ever played football yourself?
I have not. A lot of my family members, my brother played a lot of football, coaching, my father did, but I've never played this.
Now, you mentioned that you're the head. You've always been the head coach?
No, I was head coach starting in 2022. Before that, at Klein, I was the defensive coordinator, 2016, 2022.
Have you ever worked anywhere other?
Yes, before Klein, I was at Sanford High School as an assistant position.
Why did you make the transition from Stanford to Klein?
Well, it was, for lack of a better term, a bit of a promotion going from a positions coach to a defensive coordinator.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the program now. How's it doing?
When I first started as head coach, not very well.
Were there any changes you were trying to incorporate to make the team better?
Absolutely. One thing we were struggling in was offense, specifically short yardage offense.
What kind of plays were you trying to incorporate to make the offense better?
Like I said, the short yardage plays, when we only needed a yard or two, and that's when I got the idea to recycle a play that I'd already seen.
What was that play?
That would be the quarterback sneak push.
Now, for those of us who don't know, what is it?
It's essentially a play where once the ball is given to the quarterback, the three players behind the quarterback use their weight to push the quarterback as far as they can go.
Is the play effective?
Very much so. If you've heard of the Philadelphia Eagles, you know that they do the quarterback sneak push and they do it pretty well.
Has this play ever been run by high schoolers before?
No,
Coach Powell, did you do any research before running the play?
I've seen the Eagles do it probably 100 times, but aside from that,
Has anyone ever been seriously injured from running the quarterback?
my knowledge, no.
So why did you decide to run this play with your high school?
Well, we were on a losing streak, and I'd seen the play done so many times so successfully with no injuries reported, so I thought it would be a good idea to just try it.
Well, let's talk about the way you ran the play. Who was to be performing?
So we decided Marie Barnes, a freshman, would be the one to be a quarterback. Now,
Did Klein run the play the exact same way the Philadelphia Eagles did?
we did not.
What did you change about it?
We made a modification to the positioning of the quarterback.
What position was Marie to be in?
So the original quarterback sneak push, the quarterback is angled maybe 30 degrees. They would be pushed from behind. We had Marie angle himself more at 90 degrees. Maybe this is 180, more parallel to the ground.
Why did you have Marie get more parallels to the ground?
One of the main reasons was for safety.
Did you ever practice this play with Marie?
We did.
When was the first time you ran the play?
The first time would be August 20.
How did that go?
Really well. We followed our instructions, stayed low to the ground. The main reason was because he was such a small kid, lowering himself more, avoided a lot of the defensive players from getting on top.
Were you injured when you were in this play practice on August 20th?
He was not.
Did Klein ever run the QB speed push in a game?
We did.
How did that go?
On September 5th against Robert Little High School, we ran the play once and it didn't go how we practiced.
Why didn't it go the way you practiced?
Well, Marie did not lower his torso as we instructed him to do. And the exact reason we told him to do that for was what resulted. Because he stayed upright, maybe 110 pounds on a good day, he got absolutely pushed 2 yards back.
And even after that happened, was Marie injured in the game?
To my knowledge, no,
Or any of you players injured in that game?
no, my knowledge.
When was the next time that Klein decided to run the QB speed push?
4 days later, September 9th, at a practice.
How many times did you run the QB speed push on the team?
1 time.
Why did you only run it one time?
Because once we ran the play, Marie didn't get it.
What caused Marie to say that?
Once we did the play, he was at the bottom of maybe 5 or 6 other students that were kind of piled on top of him. I think that's,
Did something go wrong with the play?
no, nothing went wrong. He actually listened to what we had instructed him to do, got lower. But, got it.
First of all, why did you only practice the quarterback speed push a total of 4 times?
Well, we practiced it 3 times in practice originally, and it went very well. No injuries, gained a yard each time. At the game, we only did it once because 1, we were winning by a significant margin. 2, he did it incorrectly, so I didn't want him to do it again. And last time he did it, again, we were practicing.
First of all, based on what you know, was it safe for Marie to run this play, the way you designed it?
Yes, I mean, the speed push from the Eagles is so successful with basically no injuries. And the way I modified it, I tried to avoid more impact and more players hitting him by having him go low.
Would you have ever knowingly put your players in danger?
Absolutely not.
Would you have ever knowingly put your players to be in harm's way?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Me, Mark.
Yes. First of all, you are the head coach of the Klein freshman football team, right?
Good morning, ma'am. Yes, thanks.
Now, as you said, you've been the head coach since 2022,
Yes,
and for the first 2 seasons as the head coach, each season your team had 1 win and 9 losses, right?
we did very bad. Yes,
And that was embarrassing.
say the least.
You felt like your job was on the line.
Sure, I thought I was failing as a coach.
I want to talk about the Greek speak. You said on direct that it's a new play that you implemented for the 24-25, right?
Yes, it was novel for that.
And it was your own version of the quarterback speak push.
Exactly, I had fun.
And you said that you modified it by making Marik go parallel to the ground, right?
Yes,
With his chin tucked into his chest.
correct.
And you said that's not how the NFL quarterbacks run it, right?
Yes, Jalen Hurts is very large, strong man. He was more upright.
And you say you modified this for strategy and safety.
Yes,
Let's start with strategy. You've watched a lot of Eagles games.
probably every single one there is out there.
NFL quarterbacks are big,
They are.
they're strong,
Yes,
but as you said, Marik's small.
yes.
And if you thought you ran a play designed for a powerful quarterback with Marik, he would get stuck.
Why not this?
And stuck means he would get pushed back
Exactly.
and the play won't work.
Correct.
And that's what happened against the game excuse me, in the game against Robert Little on September 5th, right?
Exactly. When he didn't follow our modification to it, he got stuck.
And the team lost a yard.
They did.
Let's talk about safety. If you had Marie go low and have these players push him forward like a spear, defenders won't be able to get to him, right?
Exactly. That was our main objective. If he was lower, they wouldn't be able to catch him and push him as easy.
And that means he would be taking less hits, right?
Yes, sounds good.
And that's why he would be safer.
Yes.
And in coming to that conclusion, you did no medical research,
Medical research? No.
you didn't talk to any doctors.
No, I've never done that.
As you testified in direct, aside from watching the NFL, you did no research into the safety of the quarterback's feet, right?
You're correct.
Let's talk about what happened on September 9th. This was 4 days after the game against Robert Little,
Yes.
and you testified in direct that Marie finally did what you asked him to do.
Yes, he had done it on August 20th, and then again on the 9th, he got heroin.
And on that play, even the defenders defended it perfectly, right?
Yes, they did their job.
And unlike in the game against Robert Little, Marie still gained a yard, right?
Correct. They went absolutely according to the plan.
And after the play ended, there were 6 players piled on top of Marie.
Yes.
And when the pile cleared, Marie wasn't moving, right?
Yes.
And you later found out that he was paralyzed from the neck down.
Yes.
First Paul, you're under oath today, right?
I am.
That's the oath to tell the truth.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about what that oath means to you. You previously testified at a deposition for this case, right?
I was deposed for this.
And you were under the same oath to tell the truth during that deposition, correct?
Yes.
And in that deposition, under oath, you said that you had never received a complaint by a player or for a parent. Is that right?
Yes.
We then confronted you with an email, right?
Yes.
Then you said, then you admitted that there was a complaint, a safety complaint lodged against you by a player or parent, right?
There was.
We then asked you why you lied about it.
Sure.
And you answered, I didn't know you had that email.
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Coach Powell, they talked a lot to you about your job at Klein. Was the only position you held at Klein head coach?
No.
What else?
Before I was head coach, I was the defensive.
Did you do anything else at Klein High School? Wow.
Yes.
What did you do?
I also taught this.
Would you have been fired as a history teacher if you didn't?
No.
Now, they also talked to you a little bit about your coaching. Do you normally consult doctors before you run a play on the football field?
I have never done that.
Do other coaches do that?
As far as I know, my coworkers have never seen or heard them do that. I don't know.
Thank you. No further questions. They don't want to speak, excuse. No, you're cross right. Actually, you may sit there. Your Honor, the defense calls Dr. Omega Adams. Please introduce yourself to us.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Omega Adams.
Dr. Adams, what do you do for work?
I'm a neurosurgeon and I typically specialize in things like traumatic brain injury, biomechanical injury causation, even sometimes neurosurgical malpractice. But nowadays I typically spend more time with my consulting firm than actually in the OR.
How long have you been practicing?
almost 20 years.
Tell us where you went to school.
Well, I started off and got my biology degree from Stanford University. And then after that, I kind of stayed in Birmingham for a little bit and went to med school at UNC there. After med school, I went and did my residency at the University of Florida in Gainesville, and then finished up at the Barrow Institute with my residency, which was also in neurosurgery.
Do you hold any special certifications in your field?
I am certified by the American Board of Neurosurgery.
Have you ever been an expert or testified as an expert?
Oh yeah, multiple times. I'd say I've been hired by defense teams probably 120 times now.
Dr. Adams, how did you get involved in this case?
Well, Thomas R. Klein reached out to me because Murray's injury is one that is spinal cord injury and wanted my opinion on if their conduct was what contributed to Murray's spinal cord injury.
Do you have any experience in football?
I will say I'm a big Alabama fan, big SEC watcher on Saturdays, but outside of just being a fanatic in that sense, I have treated football players for spinal cord injuries that they suffered. In my 20 years, I'd say I've probably treated about 9 football players.
Without getting into any of your career, were you able to form an opinion regarding Klein's conduct as it related to Maurice's injuries?
Yes, I was.
But what did you review in coming to that?
Well, I started with all of the exhibits in this case, so 1 through 24, and then I also reviewed the party stipulations they had come to.
Did you base your opinion on sufficient facts and data?
I did.
Did you use reliable principles and methods?
Yes.
Did you reliably apply those principles and methods to your opinion?
Yes, I did.
Are these the same principles and methods that others in your field would use?
Yep. Same that anyone else would use.
Did you form your opinion to a reasonable degree of professional certainty?
Yes.
Your Honor, the defense offers Dr. Omega Adams as an expert in neurosurgery.
Objection.
Yes, Your Honor, regarding 702C, the methods of the doctor, no, Your Honor, is the document actually following a specific method, may I follow from the report?
Yes.
Your Honor, Dr. Adams said in her report that she compared client conduct to orthopedic and medical principles described and applied her experience. Now, Your Honor, his conduct in this case, the school and football coaches deciding place. She's failed to explain whether her experience treating spinal injuries as a surgeon has any relevance to what football coaches decide on their team. They're gonna need to lay more foundation in order to tender this witness as an expert based on that.
Your Honor, as a neurosurgeon with over 20 years of clinical and surgical experience, Dr. Adams can testify how her experience specifically in how impact affects the spine relates to football plays and clients' conduct and their choices in running a football play. And Dr. Adams has already testified how extensive her experience is in this area, but if Your Honor would like, we can lay that additional out. Dr. Adams, you mentioned that you applied your methodology. Can you explain what you meant by that?
Yes, so as I mentioned earlier, one of my specific areas in practice would also be in biomechanical injury causation. And so using my years in neurosurgery, I looked at multiple factors that came into client's conduct. The design of the play that was ran, the closeness of the players together, and evaluated the force impacts of those play along with my understanding of neurosurgical applications on the spine with the force impacts on the play. And all of that led me to develop this opinion about client's conduct as it relates to the injury state.
Your Honor, with that background, the defense offers to tender Dr. Omega Adams as an expert neurosurgeon.
Right.
Dr. Adams, what was your opinion in this case?
My opinion is that client's conduct was necessary with the adjustments that they made for Marie movements in order to run this play safely and efficiently.
Just a moment ago, when you were talking about your methodology, you mentioned the design of the play. But what factors did you consider regarding the design?
Well, we heard some talk about the QB sneak push earlier, but if you look at the draw of the play, everyone is somewhat very close together. You have all of the linemen almost right next to each other, as well as the quarterback directly behind the center and the 3 people directly behind the quarterback. Everyone, for lack of a better term, is kind of in a huddle. When they move, it's a very slow and controlled movement because, as we've heard, they're only going a yard or 2. So looking at the design of the play and how it is supposed to work on paper, it is a very slow, low impact force play.
Dr. Adams, would you recognize the picture of the Philadelphia Eagles running the QVC, which Barb showed to you?
I would.
Citing court and counsel was pre-admitted as exhibit 8A. Permission to approach Dr. Adams and say. Permission to publish the jury verdict. Dr. Adams, you mentioned low impact force. Using that picture, can you demonstrate what you mean by that?
Right, so this is a picture of kind of what I was just describing, because here we have the Eagles and the black are the ones that are running the QB snake push. So we see them all, like I described, next to one another, close to one another. And as you can see here, this is the line of where the first down would be. So they're not having to go a long distance. This is what I mean when I say they're not going far at all. They're moving very slow, very controlled, and just going a couple of yards at a time.
And why is it important for them to be only going a few yards at a time and moving at a slow pace?
Well, when you're not moving at a fast pace, you exert lower force. If I were to walk to you right now, I'm sure it'd be a lot less impact than if I ran. Those are the things that contributed to impact forces, as well as them being close to one another.
What's the difference between a high school team executing this play and an NFL team executing the play?
Well, size impacts force just like the motion that you're carrying. It's like running and walking. If someone's bigger in size, they're going to exert more force than someone who's much smaller. So when we look at a picture like Exhibit 8A and we see the size of these Eagles players, that's a lot of force that can come at somebody, whether it be slow or high impact. But then when we think about this play with freshmen in high school, that's already a lower impact because they're much smaller in size than the people we see in this photo.
You mentioned a lot about low impact force. But could you give us an example of what a high impact force would be?
Sure. And sticking with the example of football, we see it when teams run a Hail Mary or something like that. Wide receivers deep in the backfield by himself until a defensive player comes out of nowhere and tackles him. They're both running at a high rate of speed and there's no one else around them to absorb that force. That's a lot of force exerted on somebody, and that would be an example of a high impact play.
Have any of your high schools besides Klein run the QB sneak push?
Yes, actually, there are 2 Texas high schools that ran QB sneak push successfully.
Were there any injuries from those high schools associated with that play?
No, none that I see.
Dr. Adams, earlier you had mentioned injuries was something that you looked at during your review of the case. Have there been any injuries ever associated with the QB sneak push?
There are 2 reported injuries associated with the quarterback sneak push, and we heard them mentioned earlier. It was 2 Giants players on the same run of the quarterback sneak push that were sustained injuries.
Were either of those injuries spinal cord?
No, one was a dislocated shoulder and the other was a sprained knee.
And you said it was 2 Giants that ran this play. Were either of them quarterbacks?
No.
Dr. Adams, we've heard a lot of talk today about the modifications that Klein made to the QB sneak push. What is your opinion regarding that modification?
Like I said earlier, this play in its original form is a slow, controlled play. But looking at Marique's size, Coach Powell thought it would be necessary and helpful to Marique for him to avoid taking those kind of hits like we see Jalen Hurts take when he runs the sneak push. So these modifications allow him, as Coach Powell just described for us, it allowed Marique to get lower so that he could dive through right behind the center, curve around the defensive line, and come out unscathed before they ever had a chance to tackle him. I think in light of that, those modifications are okay, even if it's not the way I would have run it myself.
Now, is there any data out there to suggest that Coach Powell's modification of this play increased Marique's chance of injury?
No, I've seen no data that the modification of this play made his rate of injury worse.
Dr. Adams, were you in Portland today when Dr. Cotter testified?
I was.
Did you hear Dr. Cotter's testimony about how Marique's height and weight increased his chance of injury when running this play?
I heard that.
Do you agree with this opinion?
No, actually, I can take the opposite thing. Running with the same theme of my analysis of force impacts on this play, I believe that the fact that Marique was so much smaller contributed to the lower impact of the play at hand.
I want to talk about Marique's injury specifically. What was Marique diagnosed?
As we heard earlier, Marique suffered a common complicated cervical spine fracture at the C4 level. Because he fractured it at such a high level in his spine, everything below lost motor and sensory functions, which resulted in quadriplegia.
Dr. Adams, this might sound like an obvious question, but based on what you know, is the QBC push the only way Marie could sustain this injury during her football play?
No.
What about the modified QBC?
No, again, that's not the only way this injury could come about.
Based on what you know, how else could it?
Well, there's really no specific way to say all the other ways that this could come about, because we're playing football. It's a contact sport, and things like this could happen just as easily on a routine basis.
Thank you, Dr. Adams. I have another question. I'll take that as a different view.
Dr. Adams, I want to start by talking about the work you did for this case. You were paid $1,000 an hour to produce a report for this case, weren't you?
I was.
For 30 hours in that report,
I did.
you earned $30,000, correct?
I did.
You were also paid $2,000 an hour to be deposed in this case, right?
Yes.
And to be here in court today, you're being paid $2,000 an hour, right?
Right. I don't work for free.
You've been a medical litigation consultant for the last 6 years, right?
Yes.
And in that time, you've been hired in 120 cases.
Yes.
Each and every one of those cases were hired by a defendant, correct?
Yes. They're reached out to me.
90% of your income comes from your defense litigation consultant, doesn't it?
That's right.
You also speak at defense attorneys events, don't you?
Yes.
In each of the last 3 years, you've spoken at the Defense Research Institute, correct?
Yes.
That's the largest organization for civil defense attorneys in the country, isn't it?
That's right.
I want to now move on and talk about your relationship with Coach Jackie Powell. Now, you knew Coach Powell before this case happened, didn't you?
Yes. He's a patient of mine and a good friend.
Well, he became a patient of yours in 2019, correct?
Yes.
And through that experience, you said you became good friends.
Yes. He required some follow-up treatment after I performed spinal surgery.
Oh, is that a yes, you required follow-up treatment, or a yes, you two became good friends?
2019. Yes.
Now, I want to move on, talk about your experience in football. As you said under direct examination, you're an avid SEC watcher, right?
Yes.
Don't watch the NFL though.
No.
Don't watch high school football.
No.
Played it,
No.
never coached it.
No.
What you have done is over 1,000 surgeries on people with spinal cord injuries, correct?
That's correct.
But only 9 of those people were injured playing football, weren't they?
That's right.
You can't tell us why those people were running, can you?
No.
Can't tell us what position they were.
No.
And you haven't done any research about the ways different football plays can affect the body for this case, have you?
No.
Want to now move on, talk about play in question. Now, you think the QBC push is one of the safest plays in football, is that correct?
That's correct.
Not just safe, safe this, I just want to be sure about that, right?
It's one of the most slow and controlled plays in football. Yes.
Well, part of your reasoning is that this play is not banned in the NFL, correct?
That's it. Yeah.
But you're aware the 22 of the 32 NFL teams recently voted to ban this play, aren't you?
That's right.
I want to talk about high school. And you say this play is even safer to run for high school players, right?
That's right.
And you say that's because you're smaller. Do I have that right?
Absolutely.
But you'd agree with Dr. Cotter that high school players have weaker spines than adults, wouldn't you?
I do not agree with Dr.
You don't agree with Dr. Cotter that high school players have weaker spines than adults. Is that your testimony today?
It depends on the high school student.
Is it your testimony that you do not agree that high school students in general have weaker spines than adults? Yes or no?
Yes.
And you also agree that those weaker spines make them more susceptible to spinal injuries, correct?
Someone with a weaker spine would have a greater risk. Yes.
Now I want to move on and talk about data in this play. Because you say that Dr. Cotter doesn't have enough data for her conclusion that this play is unsafe for high school players, right?
Can you repeat the question?
Of course. And you say that Dr. Cotter doesn't have enough data to support her conclusion that this play is unsafe for high school players. Is that correct?
Yes.
Just to be clear, as we stand here today, this play is banned in all but one US state, right?
It's 2 actually, Pennsylvania and Texas have not authorized the ban.
Is it your testimony that as we're standing here right now in fall 2025, this play is legal in Pennsylvania?
Now in fall 2025, I'm saying, maybe I misunderstood.
And at the time of the injury, 48 states banned.
Yes,
Now, just to be clear, you only found evidence 2 high schools in Texas that ever ran this play, right?
that's right.
And you can't tell us how many times they ran it.
No,
Can't tell us the results of those plays.
I just know no one was injured.
You can tell us that those players ran it NFL style, correct?
Yes,
So let's get into the modifications play, because Coach Powell didn't have his team run it NFL style, did he?
no,
No, he had to put his head low, right?
yes,
His torso low,
yes.
put his chest parallel to the ground.
Yes.
Now, it's your opinion that this makes the play safer, is that right?
That is mine.
I just want to be very clear about something. On direct examination, you said that if they ran the play this way, Marie would be unscathed. That your testimony?
I said that was the idea for the design of the play. Him breaking through the center would mean that he could come out unscathed if he broke it through the line.
Oh, so that was just Coach Powell's idea?
The modification, yes.
So your testimony that he would actually be unscathed if he ran the play this way?
That is not what I said.
Well, exactly. So he would be hit, wouldn't he?
Are we talking about what happened or the design of the play?
I'm asking about your opinion of the design of the play. In your opinion, if they ran the play this modified way, he wouldn't be coming out unscathed, he'd be hit, wouldn't he?
Yes, if everything went according to plan.
Now, you also say that there isn't enough data to suggest that this modification is unsafe. Is that true?
Yes,
Just to be clear, no one else runs the play like Coach Powell runs, it, right?
that's right.
But the only data that we have available is from Coach Powell's team.
Yes,
Let's walk through that data. You know that this play was practiced 3 times in August and May, right?
that's right.
And to your knowledge, the play wasn't run perfectly on those days, those times, right?
No, but it was successful.
And then it was run in a game.
Yes,
And that game, you heard Alfie say that Reed was a little hurt, right?
that's what I believe.
Let's go September 9th now, because that was the last time Reed ran this play, right?
Right.
And to your knowledge, on that day, Reed ran exactly as Coach Powell instructed, right?
Yes, Marie did.
That's the play that Reed got injured, right?
Yes,
1 in the 5 times plays have ever been run was a serious injury.
yes,
Coach Powell called you good friend before this play. You wouldn't have recommended that he run it this way, would you?
I mean, I just said that's not the way I probably would have done
Would you have told Coach Powell that if he called you?
that. In hindsight's 2020. I don't know what I would say if I knew the information, what happened here. Nobody wanted this to happen to Marie, obviously. But like I said, just because it's not the way I would have run it, doesn't mean that I find anything wrong with the way that Coach Powell ran.
Dr. Adams, I understand you're paid by the hour, but I'm not. You just answered the question that if Coach Powell asked you, you would recommend you run the play this way.
Yeah. Right.
Your Honor, I was asking that if Coach Powell had asked this doctor before the play had happened, if he should run it that way, what she would have recommended. You wouldn't recommend to anyone they run the play Coach Powell.
I said I would not have run the play like that. But again, I found nothing wrong with the way that Coach Powell modified the play based on my review of the case.
Dr. Adams, I'm not asking you how you would run it. I'm asking you what you would recommend. And you wouldn't recommend that anyone run it this way. Your Honor, perfection has an answer.
Your Honor, this question's been asked 2 or 3 times now, and Dr. Adams has answered the question each time.
Specify the time period. Are you asking the witness she would recommend it now to run it the same way? Clarify your question.
Yes, Your Honor, after the objection was sustained, I moved on to asking about the medical opinion now and saying this relates to her previous opinions.
Clarify.
Yes. Sitting here on the stand today, you would not recommend anyone run the play Coach Powell, right?
No, I would not have played that.
I'm not asking you whether you would run it that way. I'm asking you if you would recommend it be run that way, and you wouldn't.
I never said that I recommended the play run out.
Your Honor, please correct this.
Yeah, I think we have an answer now, so that's on.
No more questions.
Yeah, sure. Dr. Adams, does your relationship with Coach Howell affect your opinion in today's case?
No.
Based on what you know, were the kids on Klein's football team as big as NFL players?
No, like I said, the average high schooler is gonna be much smaller than the people that we've seen running it.
Based on what you know, could the kids on Klein's football team exert as much force as NFL players could?
No, what was already a low impact play starting in the NFL became much lower of an impact play when we have a team like a high school freshman football team running it.
Dr. Adams, there was a lot of talk on cross-examination about the purpose of the modification of the play. Could you clear up what the exact purpose of why Coach Howell modified that play was?
Again, the idea was to put him out of a position where he would be knocked backward by defensive linemen, like he was when he ran the play against Robert Little on September 5th. The idea, the concept behind it, was for when the center moves forward, hoping that gain some push against the defensive line, that Marie would be low enough to come around the center, go right through and under the defensive line, so that he would get those yards without having to take as much hit as he did when he had run it previously, like in Robert Little.
Thank you, Dr. Adams. I have no further questions. May Dr. Adams be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, John.
Okay, so before we go to, do you guys?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, then, before we go to closing arguments, if you want to take a 5-minute break so we can fix it.
Love that, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Let's take 5 minutes. Thank you.
No, I can. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what also. Oh, I won't count. I didn't know.
It's,
When I was getting this morning, like, I had this. Cola, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
She was like, "Yeah, it's not, yeah."
oh, look at the glass there, I'll break it up. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the worst one. That's true, a lot of flexibility.
So like an atheist or really, really cool. Because I've done a trial early on. Never had it.
Oh, funny.
It's like I'm the free.
It was like everyone's awake, it's cold, nobody falls asleep when they're chilling.
But I was like, it would.
Yeah, it is. It's also a problem. So. This is nice.
I've never been in a argument.
Really?
Never, never. I've never been in an argument because of the first. It's bad. I don't know. It's the first time I've ever seen.
Good to see you, see that, sir.
I've never. With the.
Yeah.
Oh, before.
Yeah. I thought so, sure.
Good.
Small home.
Folks, are we ready?
Wait, it's ready to close it.
Your Honor, the defense has one motion, we would like to take up between the first arguments. Sorry. The defense, re-raises our motion for under Rule 50 of Federal Code of Civil Procedure for a judgment as a matter of law. Even reviewing the evidence applies to the favorable to the non-moving party, here the plaintiff, no reasonable juror could find that crime was negligent or that alleged negligence caused harm. We've heard additional testimony today that Dr. Adams, our expert in the state's case, agreed that the quarterbacks be pushed to say that it was even safer the way Klein conducted the play for Marie, considering his size. We heard from Coach Powell himself that he thought the play was safe, that when he ran from Marie, there was no injury until it was the accident. On these grounds, this motion to be granted.
Your Honor, in addition to resting on my previous arguments that mid-trial response point statement, specifically Coach Powell asserted that because there was no injuries in the past, that therefore it should have been known to be safe and not known to be unsafe. Your Honor, it's all the time people injured for the first time trying something new, which does not mean that it's not negligent because there haven't been injuries in the past. That's a question for the jury to decide. It's a matter of first impression whether a coach should know this. As with Dr. Adams, we showed today, Dr. Adams' conclusions don't report common sense. He showed that it's not that a player will be unscathed, if they get low, they'll still be hit multiple times. The jury can evaluate with their own knowledge whether or not a player who puts their spine close to the defense will be hit more in their spine. For those reasons, in addition to those receiving mid-trial, motion should be.
Tonight, you may proceed.
Thank you. When winning comes first, safety comes second. The summer day in Philadelphia, when the Thomas R. Klein freshman football team has been out working for an hour, when their head coach calls for an off-pass drill. And that drill is what he calls the Marine sneak. But what we all know is a version of tush push, the QB sneak. 8 defensive linemen line up against 7 offensive linemen. When 14-year-old Marine Newbrands calls for the snap, 22 high school freshmen barrel into each other as hard as they can. Marie caught. Play is run perfectly, exactly as Coach Powell designed. But when it's all over, Marie's not moving. And it's that play's design that made it so dangerous. Now, on that day, September 9, 2024, Marie Newbrands was taken to the hospital. He was diagnosed with paralysis. He can no longer use his arms or his legs. This trial was your chance to hold the only party responsible for Marie's injury accountable for their actions. That party is Thomas R. Klein High School. Because they hired coaches that put winning first and safety second. And no one exemplifies that tragic perspective more than Coach Jack Howard. At the beginning of today's trial, my co-counsel explains to you that we would prove our case by the preponderance of the evidence. We would prove more likely than not Thomas R. Klein High School was negligent, and their negligence caused Marie's injury. I want to take a little time to explain both those elements to you. When we're done, the judge will instruct you that negligence means failure to act as a reasonable person would in the same circumstances. So if you find it's more likely than not that Klein and his coaches not act as reasonable people would, then you found they were negligent. The judge will also tell you that negligence must be what caused Marie's injury. The judge will also tell you that there can be more than one cause of an injury. That negligence need only be a substantial factor in bringing about the injury for causation to be met. Meaning that even if you think there's something else that Marie could have done to prevent his own injury, that does not mean that Thomas R. Klein's conduct was not also lost. Today, you're going to face a 14-year-old boy who was named starting quarterback in his freshman football team less than a month before his injury on September. We proved that Klein was negligent in causing this boy's injury. First, prove that high school football coaches should know if QB sneak push is unsafe for their players. Second, prove that Coach Howard's modification of the play made it even less safe. Third, We proved that Klein's coaches ignored warning signs that Marie could be injured. You could force them to run this play unsafely. So let's start with my first point, that Klein's coaches should have known that this play was dangerous. Our expert, Dr. Potter, took the stand and explained exactly what a QB push does to any football player. The quarterback is being pushed from the front by the defense and on the top, while his teammates push him from behind. All the ferocity of the play that will have a major impact in the outcome of it. The defense called their expert, Dr. Adams, to the stand and trying to tell you that this play is safe. But I wanted to discuss the differences between those two experts and show you why Dr. Potter's solution is. You see, Dr. Potter is a sports medicine expert who works with UCLA athletics and their football team every week. She publishes in her field of sports medicine. She knows about it. We agree that Dr. Adams is a competent neurosurgeon qualified to diagnose and treat Marie's injury. Dr. Adams never played football, never coached him. But Dr. Adams is 90% of her time on her litigation practice, when she gets 90% of her income working exclusively for defendants. She has their conflict of interest in this case because you heard that she knows Coach Powell personally. He's a good friend. And that's the very first misconduct she was asked to evaluate. Given all that, there's still some things the experts couldn't agree on. Heard both experts today say that high school students have weaker spine complaints. That those weaker spines make them more susceptible to spinal injuries. Dr. Adams said that Dr. Potter didn't have enough data to form her conclusions. There's not enough data on high school students because 48 states have banned this play at the time that Powell decided to run. Testing out the play, 48 states have banned a 14-year-old boy because you saw the Eagles run it. That's not reasonable. And that brings me to my second point. Is Coach Powell didn't just run any old version of the QB sneak, but Coach Powell ran modification. See, Coach Powell had a problem. Each of the last 2 seasons at Klein, he had only won 1 game apiece. His job, it was on the line. You heard today that this play gave him an advantage. He had no one else in Pennsylvania was running it. They let him use all 4 downs to get those little 10 yards. Coach Powell told you that he modified his play for strategy and for safety. The evidence shows that it was only for strategy. Because you heard that Coach Powell is already lied in this case and about a critical issue. You heard that Coach Powell was opposed in this case. And Coach Powell took the same oath that he took before he testified today in the deposition. He lied about having been subject to a safety complaint. Coach Powell didn't just forget, which would be understandable and unacceptable. Now, Coach Powell told us he lied because he didn't think we had the evidence that he was lying. The only reason why he felt so comfortable telling you all today that he modified his play to make it safer, because we don't have any notion that he's lying. And Dr. Potter explained just exactly what he would have found out if he bothered to do any research about this play. Now, you heard that Coach Powell's modification and Marie torso parallels to the ground. Now, you heard Coach Powell say that he thought this play was going to mean that Marie didn't get hit at all. For the jury, you've seen pictures of the play, you've seen a video of this play being run. We all know that that is ludicrous. Marie was still going to run head first into those defenders, but in this time in a more exposed position, not a less. You see, NFL quarterbacks run upright because that means their chest is being hit. But bending all the way down so your spine is exposed on top means that defenders can hit you there much more easily. That's not all. Coach Powell also had Marie put his chin completely down, flexing his spine more. More importantly, reducing his vision of defenders. Because while Marie was exposed to all these extra blows, he couldn't see anything. He couldn't defend himself all that additional danger. And you heard Marie describe what it was like to run this play when Coach Powell designed. He was always being hit on his back and on his neck. Now, the defense like to argue that Marie ran his play voluntarily and that he never complained. But you heard the very simple explanation from Marie himself about why that is the case. See, Coach Cal tells his players that the best players, they play through injuries. Don't whine about them. They should be tough for Coach Cal. Because otherwise, But if you don't believe me, if you don't believe Dr. Potter, if you don't believe Coach Lee, be the defense zone expert. Because when she took the stand, she could not give a straight answer of whether or not she would recommend this play be run at all. Because she knows that if she was forced to answer, she'd be forced to tell you that it shouldn't be run. This brings me right there. Line coaches ignored signs and frequently injured and continued to force them to run this play on the field. You heard about the first practice on August 20th when this play was run. Heard that during that practice, Marie Nuberens was resisting getting them. The coach Val had to continue to yell again to perform this unsafe play until eventually it became too much. How Brad Marie by his collar, forced him into the ground and said, "Don't make me say it again." Marie was threatened for being forced to complete this play, and we can see why that was such a problem. Because the one and only time he ran it during a football game, the one and only time Coach Howell made a call, Marie got hurt. Marie exited the game against Robert Little, grimacing and holding his back. Heard Coach Clinton tell us he saw that, did not. Didn't follow Marie. Didn't ask him to go see the athletic trainer. Didn't ask the athletic trainer if Marie did it voluntarily. Coach Powell told you that he didn't even see that happen. Not watching for your players' safety and health after you ran that play, that's not reasonable. Because all they needed to do was think for 1 second. The play they had just run might be the reason why that Marie had left the game here. And if they had, they may have realized they shouldn't have run it. Because when they ran it again, we know what happened. The next time they ran that play on September 9th, we heard from everyone today that Marie ran it perfectly. The one and only time that he did, had his chin tucked down, his torso parallel with the ground, his teammates drove him forward, and the defense did what Coach Powell told him to do. Grab Marie, jump up. And then there was a pile of players for me. And there's the jury. The one and only time this play was run correctly. The one and only time that a high school player has ever run the great sneak the way Coach Powell designed it, paralyzed the neck down. And you heard Marie tell us what that was. Marie told us he felt himself getting hit on his back, on his neck, confirming what common sense already told us, that putting your spine down meant that was exactly what was going to happen. Then he felt the jolt down his spine like an explosion. Felt it. Members of the jury, thank you for your time and attention over the course of this. It's up to you to decide if we're going to base facts and on the evidence. It's up to you to decide which witnesses you heard today are believable and which were not. When you do so, I encourage you to compare what you've heard from the witnesses, evidence now be true. Evidence today showed that Thomas Klein winning first with safety second. And that's why you should turn a verdict liable. Thank you.
It's so.
One moment as well. Football is a game we all know can be dangerous. Players and coaches know that No two plays will ever be exactly the same. No matter how many times you practice. No matter how perfectly each play is executed. The end result will always be different. Something could go wrong at any point. But what happened here? This specific injury, this rare, catastrophic injury, this was something no one would not as coaches, but as teammates. Not even. You cannot prevent what you cannot prevent. And when Cindy Newbridge brought this action on behalf of her son, Marie, she brought with her a burden to prove by the greater weight of the evidence that finds them. Or, in other words, that through its agents or employees, they failed to act as a reasonable person would under the service. As a result, Marie was injured. Members of the jury, no one questions the fact that Marie suffered a devastating injury. What happened to him? What he endured? Something that no one should ever have to experience. And just like my co-counsel said at the beginning of trial, we recognize and understand that it's natural to want to find something. Because Marie did not deserve what happened to her. But just because you think that there should be someone to blame, does not mean that there is someone. Sometimes unpredictable accidents. And you cannot prevent what you cannot predict. Which is why the plaintiff failed to meet their burden today. Because the evidence showed that Marie's injury was unforeseeable. And as a result, Coach Powell and Coach Clooney acted reasonably when they chose to have their freshman football team run the keys. And since the plaintiff decided to focus their entire case on how this catastrophic injury should have been foreseen, on how this play was so dangerous, that's where I rest. Well, we heard today that the QB sneak push is a play that has been run across the country for years. It's been run at every level, from the NFL to college teams, even high school teams run this play. That means that this play has been run hundreds of times. Dr. Conner even told you. And out of the hundreds of times that this play has been run, there have only ever been 2 injuries. 2 minor injuries. A dislocated shoulder that was probably popped back into place within seconds, and a sprained knee that's probably healed within. Neither of those injuries were life-altering. Neither of those injuries resulted in paralysis, and neither of those injuries happened to a quarterback. Sure, football can be dangerous. Injuries are expected. Some of them are even predictable. But not season-ending, life-altering injuries sustained during a freshman football practice. But the plaintiff tried to convince you that this was foreseeable, that Coach Powell should have been able to know that this type of injury would occur. And they did this by bringing Dr. Cotter in here today, who got up here and used fancy words like axle loading to make it sound like she knew what she was talking about and was qualified to give an opinion. Dr. Cotter had absolutely no business speculating. Dr. Cotter is a family medicine doctor. Now, we are not discrediting how admirable or how much work it took Dr. Cotter to get to where she is today. But just because Dr. Cotter did a 1-year fellowship in sports medicine and works with an athletics team 1 day a week does not mean that Dr. Cotter is qualified to render an opinion regarding a spinal. And it certainly does not make Dr. Cotter qualified to render an opinion regarding a spinal cord injury, in a high school athlete. Dr. Potter is not a neurologist or a neurosurgeon. Dr. Potter isn't even a pediatrician. Yet Dr. Potter supposedly knows enough about children's musculoskeletal neurological health that she can render an opinion regarding how this specific play increased Marie's chance of injury. Now, members of the jury, you would like to hear from somebody who actually could write her. Because we brought Dr. Adams in here today. Now, Dr. Adams, she has over 20 years of neurosurgery with clinical and surgical experience. Dr. Adams told you today why this play was safe. She explained to you how the force that was exhibited from Klein's run of the play was much less than any type of force you would see from any NFL team running this play. And she showed you exactly why that's true. Dr. Cotter explained to you that much like the way that the Eagles run this play, Klein ran a slow, controlled, a play where all of their players were bunched together, moving at a slow pace just to get a guard. This created a much lower amount of impact force. That's why this play was safe for high school students. That's why this injury is so unforeseeable. Because even with a substantially less amount of impact force, even with everything going exactly how it was supposed to, breaks so often. You cannot prevent. She cannot. Which brings me to my second point. Not only was Marique's injuries unforeseeable, unpredictable, but Klein's conduct was reasonable. But we heard today, the QB sneak push isn't just some dangerous stunt or experimental drill that Coach Powell came up with on his way to work. This is a short yardage play run successfully by teams across the country at every single level. And the plaintiff tried to convince you today that Coach Powell should not have run this play because he did not do research. Because he did not know just how dangerous this play was. He didn't know the data behind it. Members of the jury, we showed you the data behind that play. But we showed you that out of the 316 times that this play was run in the NFL, 315 of those times ended without an injury. If Dr. Potter had actually done what she was hired to do today, the plaintiff would have known from day one that the QB sneak push, a play with only 2 reported injuries associated with it. Same. But they still tried to compete. They got up here and they made a spectacle out of the fact that the NFHS banned the QB sneak push. Members of the jury, what they tried to shy away from is that the time that Klein ran the QB sneak push wasn't banned in Pennsylvania yet. Pennsylvania had not adopted the NFHS ban. And more importantly than that, the NFHS made clear themselves. This ban was not just about safety. It was about competitive balance, about leveling the playing field between the offense and the defense. If the NFHS truly believed that this play was so dangerous, it had to be banned, they wouldn't have stopped at banning the single play. They would have banned the whole sport. And if the Pennsylvania Athletic Association truly believed that this play needed to be banned, they wouldn't have waited until the next season to do that. They would have done it immediately. But they didn't. Because this wasn't about safety. Well, we heard today, there is nothing more inherently dangerous about the QB sneak push than any other play in football. Which makes sense. It explains why Pennsylvania didn't ban that play. It explains why there are no reported injuries associated with this play from high school teams that ran it. And it explains why Coach Powell chose to run. And sure, 48 states did ban play. They adopted the rule. But members of the jury, when they adopted that rule, they didn't just adopt that one singular rule. They adopted a rule filled with rules that just so happened to include this one. And despite what the plaintiff wants you to believe, Coach Powell was not gambling with his players' safety in order to keep his job. Coach Powell did what any reasonable coach in his circumstances would have done. He chose to run a successful play. A play that had no serious injuries associated. He chose to run a play that at the time, everything that anyone knew about showed that it was safe. No matter what happened, that does not make Klein High School or Coach Powell negligent. Members of the jury, Coach Powell told you why he modified that play. He didn't do it just to win games. He didn't do it to put his players in harm's way, and he certainly did not do it to put Marie in harm's way. Coach Powell modified that play to protect Marie. Because the one singular time that they ran the play the way that the NFL ran that play, Marie got pushed back. Marie walked away from that play without being able to get through the center line, which is what the modification of the play was intended to do. Coach Powell modified that play because he thought that the modification of the play was the safest way to run it. The plaintiff had to prove to you today that what Coach Powell did was not reasonable. That no coach in his situation would have done what he did. Instead, all they did was make vague arguments about how this modification of the play increased Marie's chance of injury. But members of the jury, it was not enough for the plaintiff to get up here today and make an argument about how this play was too dangerous to run via. No, they decided to contradict themselves. And they got up here and argued that it wasn't just that the play was too dangerous to run. No, Klein should have actually had their team practice the play more. Run the play. Well, members of the jury, which one is it? Was the play too dangerous to run to begin with? Or should Klein have had their players running the play more? The plaintiff cannot have it. But they certainly are not. Now, in just a moment, the judge is going to send you back to school. He's going to send you back with this verdict. On it are some questions, so I want to take a moment to walk through them together. The first question is going to ask, did the plaintiff prove by the greater weight of the evidence that Klein High School safe? The QB sneak push had been run across the country safely at every single level. And there was no serious injury ever associated with it to any player, let alone quarterback. Because the evidence showed that this injury was so unforeseeable, that Klein High School could not prevent, but they could not prevent. The answer to number one is no. The question number two asks whether the plaintiff proves by the greater weight of the evidence that Klein High School caused breaks. Members of the jury, because Marie's injury was so unpredictable. Because there was no way to know that a play that had been run safely 315 out of 316 times, with only 2 injuries ever reported, would cause such a catastrophic injury. The answer to number two is also no. No one disputes the seriousness of what happened. No one disputes the heartbreak. But the question before you is not whether this injury was devastating. It was. The question is whether this injury was foreseeable. Because the law does not require a client to prevent the unforeseeable. It just requires that they act reasonably under the circumstances with the knowledge that they had at the time. And at the time, Coach Powell chose to run a play that he could ran safely across. He had no reason to believe that this moment would be any different. Because Coach Powell could not prevent, but he could not prevent. Thomas R. Klein High School is not liable. Fine time, not liable.
Thank you very much.
Would you like me to put this down?
Please, be very.
Do you want the third form?
Yeah, that's all right. Opposing counsel is urging, this play is so dangerous, Pennsylvania would have already banned it for that season. So, members of the jury, I want to remind you that the defense really wants you to forget. No one in Pennsylvania had ever attempted this play a single time before. No, the reason why I never respected banning it is because they foresaw something. They foresaw someone like Coach Powell. Someone who watched Philadelphia Eagles, and as they said in their opening statement, just had to try it. He couldn't help himself. No, what he decided to do, a 14-year-old boy, Reed Newbers, who's 5'2", and just 190 pounds, like a human battery. He experimented on a 14-year-old boy because he saw the pros play. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not a case about the pros. This is a case about freshmen playing football for the first time in their lives. They're trying to tell you there's not enough data to say this is unsafe for placement. Saying because there's no data means that this play is safe for placement. It's like saying that it's safe for a 14-year-old to drive down Market Street outside because no 14-year-old has ever been killed driving a car on Market Street. No 14-year-old has ever been killed on Market Street because we don't let 14-year-olds drive on Market Street. Because common sense tells us it's unsafe. Just like it was unsafe and unreasonable for Coach Powell to treat Reed Newbers like an idiot. He safety first. It's a second. Find the defendant. Why?
All right, thank you very much, everyone. Wonderful job. I really appreciate it. One of the reasons I love doing this is it's so impressive. So that's great. All right, so give us a wee moment while we do our calculations and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you, thank you.
Like a step out for the moment or?
I don't know what the rules are.
There's no rules. If you guys want to step out, just that we aren't sitting around. Probably easier.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh, it makes that hard. Oh, yeah. downstairs for me, because they weren't there. I think so, if I recall. Not yellow book. There should be.
You're welcome.
Hey, coach, again, I just wanna say how impressed I was. With folks some comment, let's start beside the meal. Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone, I'm Zach, heard no solution. I go for long graphic supply, I'm the president and editor for our marketing program, and I do annual practice, work for the long term. Great job, both of you guys, this team, and the three experts, great job. One thing I'll say, is for both of you, it's actually one of my favorite moments in the entire trial, was more direct and cross. I think both of the teams, like, you're going down each other on it, you're making this thing that this trial has, with this back and forth arguments, effort. Each going back and forth, sort of questions, and I think it's very balanced.
Hi, my name is John, I'm an attorney at Ohio. I practice at KU. I think my favorite thing to both sides was the cross examination that everybody did. I mean, you did a great job all around cross examination. Either side, that's the way to get everybody not answering questions, being vague and everything. So I thought that was really great. I thought openings and closings were excellent. As well, really just grab my attention, reminding me things that the witnesses had said that were important. Keep in mind, great job.
Yes.
That one, first, very night, I thought it was went along, he did an excellent job, both teams, Sebastian does the material, but table setting, the closings, see, exactly where you're going, Sarah's, and then the extra for the reason, with 40, when they're pushing back, and 30, and then we go to the just recapping the testimony of the record with the experts, this is very great job, all right.
Thank you.
My name is Saul Glass. I am your sole on this. I am a history staff attorney for the Criminal Justice Center and also a case speechwriter at quickly.com. I just gotta say, very efficient motion practice and good balance of logical structure and emotional salient, particularly in the closing statements. I found both of these aspects an improvement over the previous rounds. So.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Clark DeWitt. I am a Drexel alum, with Proudton alum, and I practice tax litigations, kind of niche area, litigation that isn't a lot of courtroom, no juries, but a lot of appellate practice. I think kind of feedback to both teams at this time goes across the board is I want to see a little more dynamics. So I know it's a big room. I know it's the third day. You're probably very tired. I understand. I just want a little more energy and a little more highs, a little more lows, just so we can see the range. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Colin Losi. I went to the University of Chicago Law School. I guess Phil upstairs said that she'd score you based on, would you hire this person? And I would say you guys are all fantastic. It really makes me happy about the bright future of our legal system. I don't feel a good hands with any one of you as a lawyer. I work at very, very small pitch. I work at Fordham Morgan large. Growing line, we need good trials here. So definitely all four should look, give that a hard look. I guess only thing is, I don't know if you're allowed to do this, but for the plaintiff side, if you do advance the final, I don't know, the witness, the assistant coach taught visits.
right? So I don't know if you're allowed to say like, well, he had an idea, like, because he warned the head coach that it was unsafe, and so I don't know if you're allowed to say like, so, and this is a guy who, although not, maybe not an expert, like, has some knowledge about, like, it's not just pulling this out of his ass, like, you know, that. Something.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, my name's Colin Blair, I work in office, I'm a litigator, I practice, in Fordham all the time. I work for a sexual assault unit, the office, and during your house. So I come up with a little bit when it comes to that. A lot of the time when I watch these things, I'm most interested in how you guys deal with questions. And first, I just want to say everyone did a fantastic job. Obviously, here in semifinal for a reason, and I know it's so long and you guys practice this so much. But something I saw both teams doing that I love and I just wish I could see more of is something that, I don't know if it's an official term, but we always refer to it as a looping. But essentially, like, when someone says something that's important, you go back and ask the same question. I actually thought there was a right for plaintiff, expert at some time, you guys went back to the show of the spine, and like that, how the injury works. And I, the defendant that actually was there, was the defendant, for the. I don't know. I girl, I was wrong, but, I thought you guys all did like question all that. I just wish I could see more of it. There were some really important facts that you guys did address and bring out in closing, but they weren't as noticeable during the actual time. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Zach. So I think, litigation attorney here in Philadelphia, criminal and civil, 30 trials. And I'm just gonna follow a little bit of how everyone would agree, obviously. So one thing that would be recommended to both teams now or in the future is that, a jury, when they sit or coaches, they have minimal or just passing knowledge of case rate. So when you really want to hammer something home, it's good to do the looping because there were some things that came out of the close that I thought were very effective. But that I just wasn't, it took me a second to remember, did we hear this or where is this coming from? How is it playing? So that's just something that you guys know this backwards and forwards. Just remember that we do not, and so it's better to overdo it a little bit, just because it won't, what's overdone for you guys is not overdone. That's it.
Thank you.
Well, folks, just a brief follow-up for that. Remember that this is theater. So being very engaging with your jury, thanking them from the outset is always important. You're trying to connect to people. You want them to listen to you. So you vary your voice, you express emotion when needed, and you balance it all. Because you want them to be involved in what you're doing and pay attention to what you are doing. But thank you, everybody. It's nice to meet all of you. All right, and I wish you all the best.
Alright, we're gonna make this very quick because if you're done, they'll have to run to the other room. That's fair. Thank you to our judge panel, especially thank you to Judge Doyle, who was a judge for the piece here in August. The school board that you saw, so the plaintiff. Plaintiff was represented by Fordham and defense by Cumberland School of Law at Alabama. So this is 2 of the top 10 trial ethics programs nationally. It was ranked. So this was a really, really great job. Cumberland was actually the final last year at Alabama. So this was even better than their trial. This was a very close trial and a split decision. And so returning to the championship case conference. I'm just really. Yeah.
You're so good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great, with the hand. Great, President Johnson. First.
Great job. Oh, yes.
I have your big, that was big, nice job. Thank you so much.
So satisfying. Yeah. It's fine, you guys were great. Great job. Good luck with Brian, feel free and free. Next time. Next time, sure. After. It's like. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
So nice to meet you. Thank you. That's the base. I don't know. Just want to say great job. You're going to be great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Oh, just a picture.
Yeah, the pizza.
I think go to the bathroom. Wow,
Thanks, so.
Yeah, right.
That's fine. Yeah.
Really great.
Yeah.